up, guys? It is Micah coming back to you with another lesson. First off, I lied. I am sorry, but I went back through the interview that I did with me and Seth, and actually I found some more things that I thought would be valuable for a listener to hear and to help them on their journey. So I have this one and at least one more that I've decided I'm going to be adding to this little series. Hope you don't mind, but I think they're very valuable. I think they're very helpful. And this one is one that we all, especially as adults, have a hard time with. And it's actually one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing that hinders us from getting better and better and better and better on a regular, at a steady pace, on a regular basis, growing and improving. And that is finding the time to practice. So Seth and I are going to talk about that right here in this video, and hopefully you're going to take away some good tips from this that will help you actually do that in your own guitar playing. And once again, after our interview, I'm going to be back just kind of reiterating and giving you a little bit more detail on exactly how to put all these things into play in your own life, in your own guitar playing time. So with that being said, here we go. A couple of bandmates of mine that I play with who are incredible musicians. The first time you came and played with us, they were like, "Who's this dude?" You know, they didn't know who you were, what you were doing. This dude in a long hair and a cap and cowboy boots coming in. I'm like, "Don't worry about him. He's gonna be fine." And at the end of the gig, they're like, "He'd come back and play with us anytime he wants to."
Yep. It's crazy how music is the ultimate, I guess, icebreaker.
Yes.
To say, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, that kind of stuff there, I've been playing guitar, me, for a long time. I'd say the first thing you want to start doing if you want to try and get to where, you know, like you just can't run out of ideas. A lot of things I try and make my own playing just seem like it's effortless. No, it's not effortless.
Right.
There's an insane amount of effort that's going to go on to that, right? But my idea was always that I want people to do like that. And they come and say, "Oh, you know, you have such a great gift. You have so much talent." I get that all the time with that kind of stuff. And it's like, I always say thank you. I always remain humble. It's a great thing. But the real key to all of that is practice. Practice, practice, practice. I wake up every day and have for the last 20-something years, and I play the guitar. You know what I mean? The first thing I do in the morning is I go get a cup of coffee, and I get a guitar, and I sit down and drink my cup of coffee. And I practice to begin every day.
Yeah.
You know? So one thing I would want anybody to do is get used to a schedule. Make your own schedule to where you have that kind of time and every day. You know, because life gets really hectic really quick. So it can be hard for people, you know, sometimes to find the 10, 15 minutes, hour, however long you might want to practice. But I'd urge anybody at any level of music, whether you can play in 40 years or 4 days, you know, make a schedule to where you can allow yourself time to practice every day. You know, because it's an everyday thing. You'll never get there without dedication.
Yeah.
So, time that somebody says to them, "Oh, well, you know, you have such a great gift and all that," it's like, you know, or you have talent. It's like, yeah, but it's only because, you know, I spent time nurturing that talent and working at that. You know.
I tell a lot of my own students the same thing. I'm like, especially when folks just start out as guitar players, you know, and especially when they start out in a older age, you know, as adults, because it's never been a part of their life. Versus when people are younger, if you have a love for it, if you really like music, you'll make it a part of your life after school or whatever, you know.
Young people are used to getting told what to do too.
Yeah.
Practice your guitar. Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard, you know, somebody that's older. That's when the drive, the desire to do it really comes in more. You know, because you get kids that come in and play, and it's evident that they want to at least make a sound with it. But, you know, they kind of sit there timid, not knowing what to do, just because they're used to being a kid. They're used to having somebody say, "Put your finger here, do this, do that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes anybody that's older, it's just a different set of challenges to try and get through to that person. You know, everybody's unique, so everybody's going to have their own way of learning, way of understanding things. So you got to kind of take your time to weed through that and find out what's best for that person, you know?
Yeah. Finding that, I find it's extremely hard for adults because of that, they've never tried to put that in there. It's even like exercising or anything else. If it's never been making it part, you've got to change something, because it takes time. So it's got to take time that you were already using for whatever else, whether that was watching TV, whether that was doing nothing, taking a nap, whether that was, well, I don't know what, but it's going to take time from something. I think it's important for people to decide first off, what time is this going to take? What time am I going to substitute?
How much time am I willing to allot for this?
Yeah.
Right, is the thing. Because, with me being the rare kind of exception, I started playing when I was young, so I could devote time to it. And then as I got older, it became my profession. So I had, like I say, it wasn't a big deal for me to wake up every morning, drink a cup of coffee, and play the guitar for however long I wanted to. But obviously, Tom, Dick, and Harry can't do that. So, but it still takes. I know that everybody's got 10 minutes of every day that they can sacrifice to do something. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to do it, they will do that. I tell everybody, it's not, 10 minutes every day is better than playing 3 hours on Saturday and never touching it for the rest of the week. Because you're not doing nothing when you do that. The repetition, the everyday thing is what's really going to build the muscle memory and the dexterity in your hands to where you can start being able to do some of the things that you actually hear or want to do,
Yeah, that's so good. Another thing to add to that is another thing that I give to people, especially again when they're first starting out, because it's harder when you're first starting out to take an hour or take 30 minutes oftentimes. Like you said, the 10-minute, I tell them, I'm like, oftentimes if you pick up the guitar, say 10 minutes in the morning or even 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes or 10 minutes at lunch, and then 5 or 10 minutes in the evening, you're usually not even going to notice that time. But it's almost like you have 3 days of practicing in, because you started, you did the thing, you remembered it, you thought about it, you did it, and then it went away, and then you refreshed again, later in the day, and then you did it again later, and you get that. It's almost like you got 3 days, say 3 days of 30-minute practicing in. It may not be exactly that way, but you're going to, I feel like, especially in the beginning stages, as people advance, I feel like it's a little bit different than that. But in the beginning stages, I feel like people make a lot of traction, picking a few 2 to 3 small bits of time to just refresh what it might be that they're working on.
Yeah, anytime practice is better than not. You know what I mean? 10 minutes is great, an hour is great, but I think the repetition of it, the consistency, makes a huge difference.
Huge, yeah. All right, how true is that? Does that sound like you? If you're like me, it actually sounds nearly identical. Even as a guitar instructor myself, there are many days that the only reason I pick up my guitar is because I'm teaching guitar. It's when I have a student in front of me, and that's kind of sad. Honestly, it's kind of sad. And the truth is, I don't get better by teaching people. Let me rephrase that. I do get better by teaching some people some things at guitar. But let's just say if I have a lesson with a beginner or 5 beginners in one day, those lessons are not making me a better player. Everything that I have to do to help them is not making me improve. It's stuff that I've done a million times. Okay, so I'm guilty of the same thing. Now, one thing that Seth said was, as a player, we need to get used to a set schedule, okay? A set schedule. In other words, you go to work every day, okay, from, 9 to 5 or whatever it is. Pretty much everyone has that. You're going to be there at this time, you're going to leave at this time, okay? You're going to eat every day at set time or around the same time. A kid is going to go to school every day. When they get off school, they're going to, if they're doing sports, they might have baseball practice or basketball practice every day. Or they might have, and then after that, they got to do their homework. So then they have more to do. Every day there are things that have to be done. So for a team to be good, they have to practice every day. For you to be good at your job and for the business that you work at or your own business, there are certain things that have to be done every day to keep things running and growing and whatnot. And your guitar playing is not any different than that. Exercising every day, pretty much anything that you're going to do, if you're going to be good at it, it has to become part of your life. And unfortunately, guitar playing is a hobby, so it's not like most people are doing it to make money. They're not doing it for their health or blah, blah, blah. They're doing it as a hobby for a relaxed time. It's extracurricular activity. Now, for this reason, it takes the back burner just about every time. It doesn't take a priority, which is the reason why we'll tend to sit in one place for a long time. For most people, it's just not absolutely necessary for you to play guitar. And it's taking time from something else. Now, here's another thought, though. You eat every day. Hopefully you exercise every day, or most days. Most people watch TV every day, okay? And that's probably not the only thing that you do every day that is actually not beneficial time. TV time it might be relaxing time. Hey, that's cool. I dig it. But how much time do we spend, doodling around on our phone? If you play games on your phone or something like that, stop playing the game and play guitar. Anything like that. But guitar has to take time. As an adult, all of our time is taken up already. Pretty much from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, that time is full. And in order for you to put guitar into it, it's got to take time from something else. And it doesn't, but the truth about it is we don't have to make it a crazy amount of time. We just have to make it consistent, which is what Seth was saying, finding a consistent place. And I like to tell my students, don't overdo it. Don't lie to yourself and say, oh, I'm going to practice for an hour every day. If you're not, don't lie to yourself. If you don't really have an hour, don't purpose to do an hour. See if you can get 10 minutes, okay? And then if you can do better than 10 minutes, if you start to say, okay, wait a minute, I can do better than 10 minutes, up that time a little bit, okay? But start with something that you can actually do. I can do 5 minutes in the morning, and I can do 5 minutes at lunch. I might can do 5 minutes when I get off work, or whatever. But usually, you can find it somewhere, but you have to make it a thing that you do every day. You have to make it a habit. If you're going to do it on your lunch break, make sure you do it on your lunch break. Keep your guitar in a convenient place to pick up, so that you don't have to go dig it out or pull it out of the closet, open the case, and blah blah. No, it's like get a stand and put it right there in your living room, right there by your bed. Bring it to your office, whatever. Have it right there where it's convenient, so it doesn't take any more of that time than it needs to just to pick it up and play. Now, one other thing that I really want to add to this, and I said this in the video, I want to say it again because it's super important. This is really good for everyone, and especially beginners, but it's truly good for everyone. If you can practice more than one time a day, even for a short amount of time, it's truly like getting more days of practice in, okay? If you practiced, once for 10 minutes in the morning, once for 10 minutes in the afternoon, that's 20 minutes. But if you did that every day, that's actually going to do better than one session of 20 minutes. And it's actually probably easier for you to find that 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there, okay? Because you pick up your guitar, you think about, what am I going to play? How do I do it? You think about it, you think about what was I struggling with or whatever, and you start working on it, okay? You refresh it, you do your exercise, you play that song or whatever, and you work on it. And then it goes away. It's done. And 10 hours later or whatever, you come back and you totally refresh and you totally do it again. It's no different if you did it like that 2 times in a day at separate times than if you just did, 1 time a day. It's a total new refresh. It's just that much more often. That repetition has already doubled for that day. And that is huge. You will get much more traction. You will get much more progress much sooner if you'll do that. I really, really hope, if you got nothing else out of this lesson, that you get that, because that is a big, big, big deal. If you're struggling with something, okay? If you're struggling with something, pick up your guitar and work on it slowly, and then maybe build a little bit of speed with it, and then put it away. Come back later and do it again when you pick up your guitar. That's so big, so big. Okay, and last thing I'm going to say, we're going to cut this video. Last thing I want to say, make sure you know what you're going to do when you practice. whether you need to have a list pinned to your wall, whether you need to have a list on your phone or something like that. Make sure you know what you're working on, so you don't pick up your guitar and doodle around, do the same thing that you've been doing, that you already know how to do and you're already good at. No, that's not practice. That's just playing. Okay, there's a difference, and playing's okay, you know. But typically, when I'm playing, I'm entertaining. I'm playing for somebody else. Okay, not saying you can't play, just to have a little good time and jam in your room or whatever for the fun of it. I'm not trying to make rules or whatever, but practice is where you're going to improve. So make sure that when you pick up your guitar, you're actually practicing something that needs to be practiced in your own playing. Okay, and like I said, knowing where you're struggling is a big thing. And I'll just add to that, that's where guitar instructors come into play. That's where they can be very, very valuable for you, to keep you to keep you clear on where you're going, to help you to find the things that you should be doing that are going to get you there, to hold you accountable, to keep you moving in that direction. Okay, when you have to see a guitar instructor every week, you feel a little guilty that you didn't practice, and you spent the money on the guitar lesson, and they're not cheap, right? But it makes people continue to move forward when they have that instructor. But an instructor will push you. They'll make sure you're doing the right things. They'll get you the right game plan, and they'll help you clear up those mistakes, showing you how to fix problems that you might be having in whatever areas those may be. So once again, I want to give you another invitation. If you need some help with your guitar playing, click on the link below and join us. We'd love to help you on your journey.